All right, guys, sorry about that. I'm quite a bit late. I'm beside myself here trying to make sure everything's working, but I had some issues, technical issues, as usual. At some point, I'll have a big podcast studio, which will be just like this one here, but there'll be somebody working technical stuff with me. We got to get Ezekiel to do that. We got to train Ezekiel. Ezekiel's my camera guy. He's doing a bang-up great job. But it's sometimes overwhelming, right, with all the studio stuff that I got to do. But I do it, I knock it out. Before I even get started with anything today, I want to address something really, really important. I've posted a couple of things on aggressive reactive dogs. We had Joey, my good friend Joey, with his Akita Max. Can you put your headphones on, honey, just to make sure you can hear me? And people are in kind of denial, right? So people say, oh, the dog isn't trained, or the guy doesn't have control over his dog. I'm going to tell you, I've got a lot of experience with reactive dogs, aggressive dogs, stubborn dogs, dominant dogs. People start saying stupid stuff like, well, what is a dominant dog? A dominant dog is a dog that does what he wants to do in spite of what you're telling him to do. And he's going to challenge you almost every step of the way. That's a dominant dog. I got an email. I was just reading it before I jumped on here, and I'm going to address this before I take any of your questions. This is really, really important because this is at the core of what I believe, the core of who I am, and the core of my mission. My mission really is to help dogs have a better life. The core of my mission is to help people better understand their dogs and make better decisions for their dogs. The core of my mission is to help people train their dogs and get past things. The core of my mission is to be honest with you, to tell you the truth, not to sugarcoat it, right? Not to tell you, oh, just keep using the clicker, it's going to work. Or, oh, your dog doesn't need corrections, don't worry about it. Or any lie, right? That's not who I am. I've probably lost a lot of followers. Facebook has shadow banned me for years. I can tell you that right now because I've got 138,000 followers on Facebook. And I grow on YouTube at a rate of 3,000 to 5,000 new subscribers every month. Instagram and Facebook, I grow at zero. It's a mystery to me that I don't lose followers or gain followers. So that's the mystery. Now, before I get to your questions, which I will get to, it's not going to be as much questions and answers today as it's going to be real work, real hardcore stuff that I want to talk about. I'm going to read this email to you, and it's disturbing. I'm not going to give the person's name. And Janet doesn't even know. Janet just finished her Peloton workout, so she doesn't know what I'm going to read. I'm going to read this to you, and it's very, very disturbing. And the message went to Bound Angels, right? So I still check the Bound Angels email, although I'm really, Bound Angels is kind of like in a holding pattern right now. Some exciting things coming up there. But anyway, here's the question. I recently adopted a pit mix from the Humane Society here in New Mexico. I'm not going to say where. He's been nothing short than amazing, super sweet, calm boy, 2 years old. He's been with my family for almost 6 months. And this past Monday, he bit my oldest daughter in the face when she turned around on her bed. There was no warning or anything. So I only assume he got spooked, but he also didn't back down or act like he knew he did something bad. My daughter is in her late teens, and that's his person. Okay? Animal control took him, and although I want him back, although I lost my place here. Although I want him back, my family is against it. Since I have a toddler, and no way to predict if this was a behavior problem or just an honest mistake. He is going to be put down next week if he is not reclaimed. I was told by his former foster he has no chance of getting adopted with a bite history. Is there anything I can do to help save him? So things happen, right? So this person is obviously in great denial. Okay, I'm not going to say she's stupid, but she's in great denial. And this denial is what I got to address with you guys. I talk about nature versus nurture, genetics versus training all the time. I've trained a lot of dominant dogs. I've trained a lot of aggressive dogs. I've trained a lot of reactive dogs, people aggressive dogs, dog reactive dogs. There are certain dogs that are just not cut out for the world, right? Dog that bites a person in the face, especially one that doesn't back down afterwards, is a genetic mess. And you've got to understand, and a lot of people have made comments to me about this, okay? The idea that they say, well, training can override, and it can't. It cannot. And then people get on their high horse, because I posted the thing about the dog that killed the 8-year-old boy in England. Oh, it was a pit mix, or it wasn't a pit mix. It was an American bulldog. It was this. It was. I don't care if it was a 90-pound Chihuahua, right? This is not the issue. People right away go, oh, it's not the breed, it's the deed. I don't care about the breed, but I can tell you any dog that has terrier in it and mastiff in it, these are very tough dogs. I've trained them. I can handle a 100-pound dog. The point that I can handle it doesn't mean that I'm so delusional that I think other people can handle it. Janet can't handle it, right? Janet's good with dogs, but she's not going to handle a 60, 70-pound dominant, aggressive, reactive dog. I'm not going to put her in that position. Now, you don't know your dog after you've had him for 6 months, a 2-year-old dog. You don't. But I digress. I want to go back into the issue of genetics. Now, people say, oh, all pit bulls aren't bad. I never said they were. In fact, I've got a video that I've spent a week editing on my computer that shows me in a yard with 10 pit bulls, mixes, of course, and none of them are pure pit bulls, because according to pit bull lovers, pit bulls is not a breed. But then they say they're pit bull lovers, but there's not such a breed. Right? It's a classification. But classifying it is being biased, because now everything is biased. Right? I'm going to tell you, there is no bias. It's just an opinion. Okay? If my white Jewish neighbor commits a crime, he commits a crime, and he happens to be white and Jewish. If my black Jewish neighbor or my black Muslim neighbor commits a crime, he's at fault because he's black Jewish, black Muslim, and he did it. It has nothing to do with his race. It's a descriptive factor. It's like me saying the idiot wearing the locate dominate shirt and the camo hat did something, right? Get away from that. But understand genetics in dogs. Dogs were bred for certain purposes. They were segregated bred by their characteristics, by their size, by their conformation, all of that, in order to develop dogs that could do certain things, whether that was herding, whether that was livestock guarding, whether that was protecting things, whether that was killing vermin. They were purposes. And dogs that were genetically good at that purpose were bred further into that gene pool. That is the genetics of it. And I can tell you, people like Pierre Wallström, like Avi Cohen, like Steve Stoops, okay, they will tell you these people are experts. And Avi and I have a podcast coming up on this. Experts at genetics. They can look at a dog. Pierre can go through a breeding program he's done for decades, can go through and find the proper dog that he knows is going to work out in his police work. And maybe it doesn't work out for the police work. Maybe it works out for the sport work. Maybe it doesn't work out for the sport work, but it'll be a great pet. And you can see that these are the genetics. Now, there's two ways of looking at genetics. There is the breed of the genetic, and then there's the specific genetic, the genetic that's in a specific animal, okay? For example, if I take a dog that is very good at the sport of IPO, has a really good temperament, has a really good defensive drive, doesn't have an overdrive, right? Maybe that dog is not good for military work, but is good for the sport work. If I breed that dog, whose parents were also good at IPO and whose grandparents were good at IPO, with another dog, with a female that has parents that are good at IPO, she's got good genetics, she's got this, and I breed those two dogs together, I may not get the most perfect dog, but I sure as heck have hinged my bets, right? I've put the right things in place. It's like getting a child who is a child of very fit parents, giving him a good diet, getting him exercise, good training in sports and athletics. I probably have a better chance of that child being an athlete than the child of some obese parents who were lazy, whose parents before that were lazy or whatever, right? There are certain genetics. In the Jewish community, you'll see that the person who's the smartest, the Torah scholar, will try to get married to the rabbi's daughter because he's a Torah scholar. So those genetics continue to go. Maybe there's not great athletic genetics in those communities, but there's great intellectual. If you look at the black community, I mean, we have so many great black athletes, right? You look at certain, and this has nothing to do with race. This has everything to do with what's important, right? When you look at where I grew up, we were in the street, we were exercising, we were playing stickball. We weren't studying. I'm not the smartest guy. It has nothing to do with that. But we saw that people who did athletics were very good at that. If I started playing guitar, God forbid if I would have played guitar early on and kept going, I would be a good guitarist now, but I didn't. I'm trying to learn now at 56 years. Am I 56 or 57? 35. Janice says I'm 35. So these are important. But let me go back to the dog thing, because this is so important. You need to understand that if you have a dog that shows a predisposition to aggression, to dominance, to severe aggression, then you've got a case on your hands. Okay? And in this example, Joey is dealing with his dog, Max. And Max is a dominant dog, and he can be an ass. Joey knows that. He's aware of that. Joey is a very strong guy. Joey's a very sharp guy. He understands that. You guys coming, and not you guys, but people coming on and saying, well, he doesn't know. There's not enough training. This dog has been trained since he was 3 or 4 months old. He knows exactly what a down is, what a come is, what a leave it is. He knows that. But he's dominant. He's going to choose when he wants to do it. This pit bull, okay, who this woman is talking about, is a bad dog. He bit a child in the face. Why a mother would want a dog back that bit her child in the face? The dog would have never made it to the Humane Society, but in my house, I would have killed him personally. Right? I don't believe this whole excusing things. I have such an issue with it. I have such an issue with our lackadaisical attitude towards crime. My father was murdered, okay, by a guy who has a rap sheet as long as your arm. Why? Because radical people think we should forgive and forget and move on and give them another chance and give them another chance and give them another chance. I don't believe it. I think if a dog shows a propensity to a dangerous level of aggression, dogs should be removed from society. I'm the guy, by the way, who spent 12 plus years teaching canine behavior to animal shelter employees and volunteers. I could handle most every, there wasn't a dog I couldn't handle in 12 years. So I'm not coming to you from a light, flower potted, patchouli burning attitude. I've done it. I've lived it. There's not plenty, but several dogs that I said this dog should be put down. If I say the dog should be put down, dog should be put down. I don't say it lightly. I always said, if I say the dog should be put down, I'm willing to go put the needle in the dog myself. I believe in it that strongly. Because this dog that does this dog that killed the 8-year-old, the dog that bit this girl in the face, put him back in the shelter. Somebody else adopts him. Some moron animal rescuer, some radical animal rescuer who's going to say, well, it was probably the child's fault. No, it wasn't. It's a parent's fault for not watching. It's the dog's fault. Why can't we lay blame on the dog? Why are we so stupid? Oh, well, maybe the child spooked the dog. Really? By sleeping? You spook a dog by sleeping? There's nothing you're going to do to spook my dog. Nothing. So get a grip. If you have a dog that has a certain amount of aggression, of strong defensive drive, of dominance, where it's not dominance, by the way, when these behavior people are going to come in here and go with their scientific behavior of dominance, there is no scientific behavior of dominance. Dominance means I know what I want to do. I know what you want me to do, sorry, but I'm not going to do it. Huh? I'm not going to do it. That's dominance. And then I'm going to challenge you. Okay, you know what? You want to make me do it? I'm going to try to bite you. And I've had dogs like that. I've had dogs, I say down, I know they know down, and then I go to tap them down, and then they grab a hold of my hand with their mouth. That don't work out very well. That doesn't work out very well at all. You do that to me, we're going to have a battle. We're going to dance. So these are the things you need to understand when you have a dog that has these tendencies. Now, my website, my membership section is full of hundreds of lessons of how to train your dog. And I will be honest with you, I think 99.9% of dogs in the world can be trained. And I will say 80% of those I would say a strong 80% can be trained with positive only, with clickers, with treats, with luring, with shaping, because we've bred these dogs to be those dogs. When that doesn't work out, we need to take it to the next level, right? So that we need to take it to the next level where we have an aversive, a prong collar, an e-collar, a correction or something. And when we can't train them with that, then they go into that small 1 percentile, less than 1 percentile, where those dogs can't exist in society. They just can't. Right? It's not fair to the dog. It's not fair to me as another person walking my dog down the street. And it's not fair to the other person who might have a dog who might get mauled by this dog, get killed by this dog, or their child might get bit by this dog. So we need to get a grip on reality. We need to stop lying to ourselves and stop trying to make this utopian society where all dogs are accepted, just like all people are accepted. All people should not be accepted. All dogs should not be accepted. All behavior should not be accepted. You know what we strive for is a safe society. That means, you know what a safe society means? It means my wife can go out shopping anywhere in our neighborhood or anywhere and doesn't run the risk of being mugged, being followed home. Beverly Hills, somebody just got followed home and killed and shot. The guy who mowed down the people in the Christmas parade was let out on no cash bail or a $1,000 bail for running over somebody else. People are committing crimes, and when a person commits a crime, they should be punished. But they shouldn't be given another opportunity to commit another crime and another crime and another crime, and it's the same with dogs. If the person who murdered my father would have been locked up in jail for previous offenses, my father would still be alive today. When he was murdered, his 9-year-old daughter saw him being killed. My half-sister. You want to talk about somebody who's pissed off about forgiveness on crime, about violence? I've got a deep rage inside of me for this. I think it's really wrong. I think it's really wrong that dogs are attacking children and people and other dogs. And then people going, oh, well, maybe your dog spooked my dog, or, oh, my dog's usually friendly, or my dog's never done that before. First of all, there's never, ever in any way a dog that just does something. There's always a behavior. Now, granted, most people aren't behaviorists. They can't read it, right? They don't know it. And that's cool. You don't have to be a dog expert to own a dog. Just like you don't need to be a mechanic to drive a car. But when people tell me, oh, well, there's a lot more, pit bulls score really high on this behavior thing. First of all, that behavior thing that those pit bulls, that test is, and post it. If you want to argue this, post it. Because I'm going to show you that it never shows dog-to-dog introduction in that test. And pit bulls of that classification are notoriously dog aggressive. And I've put 10, I think Lewis and I had a record one time, we had 20. We had every single pit bull that was in the shelter out. A lot of structure. We were able to make it work. Without that structure, we would have had some dead dogs. And probably some severely injured people. So if you can't do that, then you can't have these dogs. Okay? So you need to understand. So when people say, oh, dachshunds bite a lot, Or Yorkies bite a lot. And that's true. I've been bitten by more dachshunds than anything else. My work in the shelters, my work in private practice, the least I've ever had bite or try to bite me was pit bulls. I admit that. But I'm going to tell you something. There's an analogy Janet and I talked about over breakfast yesterday. There's probably a lot of people who get hit by bicycles. Right? Bicycles probably hit a lot of pedestrians. But the damage to the pedestrian after being hit by a bicycle is nowhere near as great as those who are hit by a car. So if a little dog tries to bite me, it's going to cause about the amount of damage that a bicycle is going to cause hitting me. It's going to hurt. It's going to bleed. I probably need a stitch or two. But when a pickup truck hits me at 60 miles an hour, it's going to be a lot different. And that's when you're talking about the pit bull, the shepherd, the Rottweiler, the Mastiff, the Corso, the Presa, and all those. So you've got a great responsibility when you have a dog like that. And that's what I really want to get across to you guys today. I'll take a few questions. It's kind of an off-topic day. Janet's probably got some questions she wants me to look at because she's been monitoring this all along while I was ranting. But every once in a while, I got to get these rants out because it's so important. Let me see. What do you got? You got some questions? Okay, here we go. I'm going to take the ones from Janet, so let her pick them. This one's from Ivan. It says, how old is Goofy? Is he still same energetic and full of life as he was when he was younger? My dog is older as well. Just want him to live forever. Well, you know what? Listen, I got a podcast I'm going to be doing about dogs living forever. I would give anything. My greatest gift would be my dog would die one day before me. That would be the greatest gift because then I could bury him, make my peace, and then go to eternal rest. Goofy's 12. He's going to be 12 in March. So God willing, he's 12. He is exactly as energetic as he ever was. He's insane. He's completely crazy. He's probably sleeping somewhere now. Dwayne's on the couch. But he is. He's a Malinois. His mom was like that. The other female that the breeder bred, Brooke, was like that, Tasha's other dog. They're both a million miles. Cammy went a million miles an hour till the day she died. So I'm assuming Goofy's going to go the same way. Marta, Irene, something, she got a bunch of names, Torres. My dog is always zooming. How can I help him focus more and listen? It's difficult to get him back to it. He's docile, great with people, but when focused on balls, attention is something. So if you have a high drive dog, and this is Goofy, and this can also be Dwayne in a lot of ways. The dogs get super, super, super excited. I just saw a super chat come through here for somebody. Thank you so much for all your super chats. Great dog super chat, $10. Thank you. If a dog has that degree of prey drive, then you kind of got to work him with something that's a lower reward or lower stimulation for him. That's really the key to that. You want to think about that is a really good thing because a lot of times people have flat dogs. The dog just won't do anything. The dog is just literally you can't get him motivated. So a dog that's super hyper motivated for a toy, work with a lesser degree of drive. Like if he's crazy about a ball, maybe bring a different kind of ball out or a tug or something or if the dog's crazy about the tug, switch it for a ball. But use that drive, like just get him to start to focus and be super calm. Being highly energetic or corrective and stuff like that, that doesn't work. By the way, it's cold in the room this morning and I'm wearing my Locate Dominate hoodie, which is very stylish. I mean, it's very, very stylish. You can't get better than this. And they're all on the store in the link down below. Christine says, dog was trained to not go outside without permission, but then I had to start work in office, put in a dog door, and my 16-month Labradoodle doesn't want to use his doggy door. Suggestions for helping him? Yeah. I'll tell you what I would do. With the doggy door, I have a video of it somewhere, but it's a bad quality. When I was teaching Goofy how to use it, it was really actually kind of fun. I think I may have done it with Silly first too. What you're going to do is take the door and the plastic part and tape it up. Use a piece of duct tape and keep it open and throw treats through the hole and let your dog go through. Go get it. And he's going to go. And make sure you do it both sides. Go out and then come back in. Once you do that, then stand there and have the plastic down and push the treat through and let them go get it. Because you've got to get them used to the idea of pushing through that plastic because they see it as a barrier that they don't want to go through. But it's not hard to do. It just takes, I think it's fun. I wish I had a dog that we could teach it to, but we don't have a dog door here in the house. Okay, this is from, I can't read who it's from. David Wheezy. Neighbors, question mark. I see, neighbors. Neighbors' two small dogs have always barked at my 1-year-old Mel. Recently has wanted to fence fight. Yeah, that's going to happen. Neighbors think it's funny. It's not going to be funny when he gets hold of those dogs. Advice for helping my Mal prong e-collar. I feel like I'm failing. You're not failing, okay? That's unfair on your neighbor's side, that your neighbors put your dog through that. And people with small dogs always think it's cute when their dog barks at a big dog, when their little dogs bark, because, oh, look how cute, he's trying to dominate your dog. Yeah, but in reality, the big dog would just kill the little dog, and then it's not funny anymore. So people with little dogs need to be really smart about this. And Janet had a little dog, a little Bosman, and she was super conscious of that. She was super conscious that she'd pick him up when there's another dog, and she didn't let him be a jerk. She never let him get around bigger dogs, because that's fair to the dog. The dog must understand that he's a little dog. Boz thought he was a big dog. Boz hung with Goofy and with Maya and with Jimmy. He didn't understand that, but he was also never a jerk. So I would have a serious heart-to-heart talk with your dog, with your person, your neighbor, and tell them that this could be very, very dangerous, and that you've done a lot of work to train your dog, and you'd appreciate it to keep, maybe you guys can make a mutual pact, like certain part of the yard, let their dogs have that side of the fence, and another part of the yard, you just may need to fence it off a little bit. But that continuous fence fighting is very frustrating for a dog, especially like a Malinois. And when you have a dog like a Malinois, German Shepherd dogs that they're using for protection, those dogs get really agitated, and we use agitation. In other words, we frustrate the dog. We put them on a harness and we frustrate them by not letting him get to something. And then through that frustration is where we build the bite and the drive to bite. So I would really, really, really talk to your neighbor about that. BG Chartier. I'm not putting my glasses on, so I could say anything and it will be inaccurate. New 11-week-old Mal home yesterday, not responding to use of treats, will go in but not stay or offer to go back in. I think you're talking about the crate. Cries loudly when in crate. Did calm down last, not when we put crate in bedroom with us. This is a very cryptic message, by the way, but I will use my cryptology skills to kind of figure this out. First of all, you just got him home yesterday. He's not going to respond to anything right now. Don't overburden the dog. Just let the dog decompress. Put the dog's food in the crate. Let the dog go in the crate. Monitor him. Have a little drag line on him. Take him outside a bunch of times. Let him see where he goes outside, where he goes potty. Don't start day one, if the dog's not ready for it, don't start day one with trying to get the dog to do so. It's too much pressure. Just too much pressure. Take the pressure off. I don't know why you got him at 11 weeks. You should have got him at 8 weeks, but maybe the breeder held him back. Maybe you were traveling. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Take the pressure off your dog. That's the number one thing. Let the dog be a dog. Let the dog just chill out. He's going to come along. You push him too hard, too far, too fast, you're going to lose the dog. So take your time, really, really take your time, and just give the dog a chance. And if the dog cries when he's in a crate, just close the door. He's got to get through it. They all do that. Which one am I reading? The first one or the second one? Both. Okay, both. I'm reading both of these. Remy. How to handle off-leash dogs bombarding my 5-month-old German Shepherd puppy on training walk. I was able to get them back off eventually, but ugh. Yeah, really big ugh. I turn into the ultimate ass when that happens. I yell, I stomp my feet, I'll have a stick in my hand, I'll clack the stick on the ground, and I'll say, hey, get your dog back, get him, and I'll yell at the dog. I don't want dogs running up to my puppy. Now, I haven't done it for a while, but at some point, if I get a puppy, I will turn into the biggest jerk in the world. You must protect your dog. Get yourself a little air horn, stomp your feet, become known in your neighborhood where you walk as the dog Nazi. Like that, you will not tolerate that. It's not acceptable, not at all. You must protect your puppy, because if not, your puppy's going to get hurt, or a German Shepherd is going to turn out to be aggressive. If he gets bit on that leash, then you're going to have a dog that's going to be fighting on a leash forever. And the other one is Demir. I think it's Demir. I have a 15-month-old Rottweiler that I got him when he was 1 year old. Other than him jumping on people, biggest issue I have is when he grabs something that he is not supposed to have. How to fix that? you got to teach the dog a good out command or a good fooey command. And those are two different commands. And they're both on here on the YouTube channel as well as on my membership section at robertcabral.com. So if a dog grabs something, you teach him an out command by, first of all, giving him something else. Like you say, hey, I got this, you give me that, I get this. And then the second thing, by correcting the out, which you can either lift him off of by putting him on a harness and lifting him off, or a flat collar and lifting him off. But you don't want to engage the object. That's the biggest mistake you'll make with that, is the dog will have something in his mouth and you'll go, hey, give me that. And then you'll start pulling on it. And with a dog like a Rottie, he's going to see that as a game, as an engagement to play. And that's not really what it is, right? What it is, you got to get that out of your mouth. But if I'm fighting you for it to get it out of your mouth, he's going to see that as engagement. So I always said, if you ever have to get something out of the dog's mouth, the best thing is to swap something else for it. But the other thing is, I never pull things out of a dog's mouth. I push them further into the dog's mouth, which creates the gag reflex, which then lets the dog get it out. But before you do that, since you've only had him for 3 months, teach him a good out. Like, use 2 balls, trade one for another, trade him a treat for something. Make sure everything starts fair. Training should always, always, always start out very, very fair, with the exception of aggression, which you'll see in my Sunny video, that we start by putting corrections on the aggression. Then we show a reward and give the dog the option. It's a very different way of approaching the aggression, because there are several different ways to approach aggression. But with your dog, this is a possessive nature. Try to swap them something. Be very fair. Hey, give me that. You can get this. Don't yell at the dog. And then if you have to, then you have to use some aversives and correct the dog, either by pressing whatever it is into his mouth. If it's something big like a jacket or a shoe, or if it's something small like a stick or something like that, you're going to have to lift the dog off of it, because you don't want the dog swallowing certain things. Like, could be very dangerous for the dog. Jonathan says, recommendations to tactics to address demand barking, overexcited noise, whining, etc. when heading out the door. 4 to 5 rescue Siberian Husky, and since she's a Husky, and live with it. Or since she's a Husky, well, Huskies are going to be a little bit neurotic and stuff. And they're very pretty dogs. And I think people get them because they're pretty, which is not the best reason to get a dog. But I would say calm. Be as calm as possible, right? Maya gets super excited. All our dogs get excited by the door. I should say not all of them. Jimmy doesn't get that excited by the door. Maya and Goofy get really excited by the door. So I tell them, hey, back. Then they run in the garage, and then we wait. Then we leash everybody up. Janet's got a really perfect game. The garage door doesn't open until Dwayne's butt hits the ground. She's really good at that. She's really patient with that. Me, it's like, I just want to get a walk in. I'm going to put them on the treadmill for 20 minutes. They're going to get their exercise in. So this is where the yin and the yang works out. So the yin is the female, the nurturing energy, and that's Janet. She's so kind and patient and stuff like that. And it works really well. I'm the, little bit more abrupt person. So I'd say, go, hey, knock it off, sit. And then that's it. But dogs are going to whine, especially a Husky. Maya whines. She's a whiner. She's whined for 9 of the 9 years I've had her, and it's just something that you're stuck with. That's just your dog, and just enjoy her or him, and love them, and that's all you can do. Let's see, do I have anything else? I'm looking down here on my list. You got a couple more there, honey?
Yeah, they're not in order.
I don't get through in order. Sorry, guys. Every once in a while, I got to get these rants out, because that's the core of my mission. I don't do what I do for a living because I make a living at it. I do what I do for a living because I'm passionate about it and I love it. That's what got me through all those years at the shelter. I made no money, really. I made nothing. I lived very simply off my savings mostly during that time. But I loved saving dogs. I loved teaching people how to work with dogs, how to work with very difficult dogs. That was really the core of my mission. So here, I'm not here because I make a great deal of money. I mean, I make a very nice living, and thanks to all of you guys for supporting that. But I'm here to give you more than that. This isn't an exchange for you give me, $15 a month and you get all my lessons. This is, even here on YouTube, you're getting everything for free on YouTube. I get a very small revenue from ads, very, very small. I couldn't live on it, honestly. But it means everything to me, everything, to be able to get this mission out there. Max ZZZ, I have a reactive Rottweiler, good dog, awesome obedience at the field and on walks. I've managed to get him sort of good with buses going past, but with motorcycles, he just loses his mind. Help. That's not uncommon. So if the dog is good on the field, you have this is where the dog understands what he should be doing, but he's not doing it in other places. So what you have to do is get him into these other places more often. And it's hard because motorcycles, there's so few of them, just like buses. So buses are bigger, motorcycles are small, and it's a higher degree of prey drive. And you need to get the dog checked into you, checked out of that. The way I would do it is I would try to have the dog back a little bit. And if you can find somebody who has a motorcycle to kind of work with you, as much as this sounds stupid, you're going to see that Joey's dog Max had some issues with bicycles, and so we had there was a girl playing soccer in the park not too long ago when we were there, and I said we'll give you $10 if you just ride your bicycle back and forth, which is kind of funny because you got a 10-year-old girl riding a bicycle back and forth, and 100-pound Akita trying to lunge at her, but she did it, and she didn't even charge us the $10, so that was really nice. But again, you need to get your dog in front of that situation so that the dog can learn. And that's where you put corrections on the dog. So you keep the dog at distance, 180-degree about turns, then work the dog into static exercise. It always starts with movement. Excitement, we do movement back and forth, which gets the dog to re-engage, check out of one thing, check into another thing. It's not fair to expect the dog to see something exciting and go to a static position like a down or a sit. They can do that once that suspicion has been alleviated, once it's been kind of numbed in their mind. It's not that big a deal. So 180-degree turns, the dog learns to look, focus. Then I can ask the dog to down. Now, if the dog breaks it, I go, hey, no, down, and I put him back in the down. But it always starts with movement. So that's exactly how I would do it, and that's how I have done it. April says, how can I tell if my dog is being neglected by the trainer I'm boarding her with? It's been over a month, little progress on skills, and seems more anxious with cut and face. I mean, I think, how did you find this trainer? Did you get references? Did you check the trainer out? Did you ask people if they've used this trainer before? That would be one thing I would do. Sometimes owners tend to over dramatize the dog always being anxious, being that, because and trust me, I would be the same way. I would be a little bit jealous, like, oh, he's got my dog, and my dog's really not getting what he should be getting. Training is a very slow process, which is one of the reasons why I've kind of enjoyed doing this with Max and Ziggy, because we took them from step one all the way through over 6, 7, 8 months of training. And with Max, we've exposed him. You've seen the first public socializing, but there's 5 more. Now I'm working with another dog, Sunny, who's a really nice black German Shepherd, but this dog is a young puppy, really just a jerk to other dogs on a leash. So we've been working with him. So a lot of the lessons that are coming are more real world applications, and I think that will show you that. But it takes a lot of patience. You've just got to be patient to see it through. Ask the trainer if you can kind of watch some of the training sessions, maybe just at a distance, see what's going on. They should be able to. I always let people watch what I'm doing with dogs because I don't do board and trains either, though. Okay. Somebody else did a $15. But by the way, if you guys are doing super chats, thank you. Thank you very much. Not only for the money, because it's really nice. That's Janet's toe you saw there. But she's sitting here stretching. But what I really appreciate about the super chat is that you're putting that effort forth to say that you support what I do and you believe in what I do. And that means a lot. That's what I always say. When somebody sends me a thank you note or a thank you card or something, that means a lot. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned. Ed says, 1-year-old German Shepherd, high toy drive, working him to be a service dog for military-related PTSD. Basic obedience is solid. Would protection work enhance his reaction to my PTSD markers like a panic attack? No. I mean, I think when you're dealing with a dog that's going to help with PTSD, you really kind of want a super calm dog. You want a dog like Jimmy. Like Jimmy is just like the calmest. I mean, Jimmy is not a real dog, by the way. Jimmy is, there's some aliens created him because he's like not normal. He's just so calm. He's so, like he'll lay in bed with you for hours. Like he'll never get up, except if Janet gets up and he barks at the door. But PTSD, I would really focus on a genetically calm dog, not a dog that you have to teach to be calm, but a dog that just has a natural calm energy. Now, they can play with toys. So I'm not saying that they shouldn't be playing with toys or even do protection. But the dog must understand the difference of when they're on and when they're not on. So, if somebody's having an anxiety attack, then they need to be able to go into a super calm mode. And that's a genetic thing. That's not a training thing. So the number one thing, like when guide dogs picks a dog to be a guide dog, they don't pick the most trainable dog. In fact, that's the last thing they pick. They pick the genetic dog that is predispositioned to the behavior that they want. And that's the case with all good dogs, right? Any championship level dog, in my opinion, should start by being selected because of the genetic ability of the dog, then the work we're going to do on top of it. Because then if the work doesn't work, then there's no fault to the dog or anything. It's just not who the dog was or who the training was or the dog's ability to comprehend the training. Too many people get dogs that are just not good dogs, right? And then you have issues with failing, and that's a problem. Look at all these super chats coming through. Well, I'm not seeing all these super chats, but thank you guys for that. It's very kind of you. Ida, relative has a 1-year-old Cane Corso female who air bit towards it hurt my 9-year-old who sat in a chair that she was in. What do you think of this? Worried to leave kids there. Owners are clueless. Well, first of all, I don't know why she air bit and that hurt my 9-year-old. How does an air bite hurt the 9-year-old? That I don't know. I would be interested. I'm not being facetious, by the way, because when I'm facetious, I'm totally rude. I'm actually very curious. But I would tell you, based on what you said, that I would never leave my 9-year-old with somebody who's clueless. So it doesn't matter if they have a dog or not, because, they could leave paper clips around that your kid can put in the electric socket, or they could leave the door open, your kid could wander in the street. They could leave the pool open, your kid could drown. This has nothing to do with dogs. If the dog is air biting, it's definitely giving a warning sign or an initiation of play or predatory behavior. Could be a million different things. I would have to see it to make the judgment. But based on what you said, that the owners are clueless, I would in no way, and I'm not here to give child advice, I'm not child services, but I would not leave my my child there. No. Look at this. This is an interesting one. I just saw it. I live in the Himalayan mountains. That's pretty amazing. How do you have good cell service in the Himalayan or Wi-Fi service? That's amazing to me. But anyway, I'm going to answer your question. Jahan Zeb says, and that's an awesome name too, by the way. Live in the Himalayan mountains, looking for a guard plus companion dog. I will adopt a puppy. No time for proper trainer. Will the dog protect the property against humans? Alibi, a good option. Alibal. What's alibi? Alibi. I don't know what alibi is a good option. If you're going to get a dog for protection and you get a puppy, then yes, if you get a dog that's like a dominant breed, for example, a Tibetan Mastiff, that would protect your house against pretty much anything. Although me saying the word Tibetan Mastiff on this chat will initiate some people to go get one who should never, ever, ever get one because it's a super gnarly dog. But if I lived in the Himalayan mountains and I wanted to protect my home against a leopard or whatever you have up there, as well as people, I would get one of those kind of dogs. I would raise that dog. I would live with that dog. I would sleep with that dog. That dog would be so in love with me, and it would tear everybody else apart. So that's kind of what you need when you need a really protective dog. Let's see. Gina. Okay, Gina says, "Hey Robert, I'm having difficulty with the stand command. When I say stand command, my dog does it, but it takes a little step back and moves it back like towards his left. How can I fix this?" Well, if he's taking a step back, that's good for a stand command, right? If he's on a down, you say stand. He should step back. He shouldn't come forward. The best way to train anything if the dog is moving is to put the dog on a platform, because a platform kind of makes the dog stay in a certain spot in a certain area. Whenever dogs are moving, then that's what you want to do to fix it. Which one? Marta? No. Rice. Holly, thank you for that super chat as well underneath there. Um, Robert, what is your opinion of the Star Mark prong collar with plastic prongs? People ask me that all the time, and I don't see a reason for it. I just use the regular prongs. I've never used the collar, so I don't know. It might be wonderful, but I always find that, at the core, old school is always better, right? I just don't think remaking things really works. Which one? The bottom one? Christian? No? Christian? Which one? Christian? Yeah. Christian Vonderplug. Is the Delta Sport XC good e-collar for small 6-pound dogs? Yeah, that's a really good collar for that. You need to condition the dog to it, but the Delta Sport XC is the lightest collar that I have ever found in my entire life. So I would do that. I got one here. Damir says, I feed my Rottweiler with Victor dog food. He loves it, and raw is always good. I don't think that was a question, by the way. Here's one. So CO, I never knew this. CO is Caucasian Ovcharka, which is a Caucasian Shepherd. My 3-year-old Caucasian Ovcharka, I don't know how to say that, jumps my small terrier mix. She may catch a tooth, but he doesn't hurt her. I can see when it's going to happen. I don't know how to make him stop. You just got to make him stop. It's always a funny question to me when people say, how do I make my dog stop jumping? Just make him stop jumping. Like, you can do one or two things. You can tell him to do something else, or you can make jumping very aversive. The thing I always do about jumping on me is I step on the leash. I think that works really well. Or I step straight into the dog and I startle the dog. Depends on the dog. One works, sometimes the other one doesn't. You got to be careful with that, because if you have a Caucasian Shepherd, that's a big dog, and if it's jumping your small dog, it's going to become a problem. I promise. It's because at one point the little dog is going to kind of have had enough and try to fight back, and then the big dog is going to settle it. So when you bring a new dog in, you've got to control the dog. You've got to control the behavior, the behavior all the way through. Oh, this is Nick, the one you circled, Nick Vidmar. My parents' dog is an Australian Shepherd Border Collie Black Lab mix who kills a lot of animals in our yard. How can I redirect her to something else? I know the prey drive is there. Well, once a dog starts that kind of behavior, like this is kind of a strong pattern, the only way you're going to get that dog to stop is by very, very strong aversion, like a rattlesnake type avoidance type training, which means the dog needs to be on an e-collar and the dog needs to be severely corrected for it. I mean, I'm a weird guy, like I love eating. I eat beef, I eat chicken, I eat fish, and I was a vegetarian for 10, 12 years. I have no problem with people who hunt. In fact, I admire hunters. I think hunters are the more honest of the people in the world. I'm less honest because I couldn't kill the animal. But I don't believe in a dog just being allowed to go kill animals like that. I think it's terrible. I really do. It's like trophy hunters. I hate them. I detest them. I think they're the most vile human beings. If you kill an animal to eat it, I think that's totally acceptable. I think that's the law of nature that I had nothing to do with creating. God made that situation. We eat. All animals eat. But there's no animal who really kills just for sport. That just doesn't happen, right? If you look at in the wild, a wolf kills a deer and eats it. A lion kills a zebra and eats it. That's the way it is. But if you're letting your dog just kill animals, you're just creating a really, really bad behavior. I would put an e-collar on this dog, and I would correct him very firmly for that. It's not acceptable. I've got only like 1 minute left, so this is going to be my last question, guys. Sorry. If you're members, by the way, you get another hour of me. And if you're Janet, you get another 23. She's probably thinking, how can I be a member and just have one more hour, get rid of those other 22? Okay. Here we go. Clemens. I had a very good friend named Clemens in Switzerland. We went on a lot of motorcycle trips together. Got a 1.5-year-old Malinois. She gets extremely excited when other person she knows is walking with us. How can I calm her? Get her used to it, right? So the way you do this is you get the dog just used to the experience. Make it positive. Have treats, bring a toy with you, but make it make it the new norm. Most of the time you don't do that. You end up giving the dog, like you give in to them. Oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. No, just work them through it, stay on it. It's gonna get fixed. It's not a big issue. You can do it, I promise. By the way, guys, we have 243 people in here right now, which is a lot of people. Do me a favor, go get yourself one of these cool shirts for Christmas. This is one of my favorite shirts. I got one for Janet. I hope Rena, my stepdaughter, Janet's daughter, is not watching because she's getting one for Christmas. A hoodie, really bitchin' hoodie. So these hoodies are so cool. They're so warm and cool. You got to get one of these. And these would make great gifts for anybody. They don't even have to have a Malin one. Like Rena's got a little dachshund. And Rena's the one that I always promote on Instagram, who does the amazing jewelry, right? The coolest jewelry you can buy. Check out Rena Jewels. Just a little plug. She's amazingly creative, and you'll be supporting our family when you support her work. And she has great gifts, candles now. But again, Christmas time is coming. So if you can't get some Rena Jewels, which are expensive but worth it, you can get yourself a Locate Dominate shirt or any one of our shirts. They're all there. And that's it, guys. God bless you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening to what I had to say. And thank you for the 1 thumbs down. That's always happy. I'm always happy to see that because it means you guys are alive and you have an opinion. And opinions are so rare nowadays because you're just squashed. People just squash you if you don't agree with them. And if you don't like me, that's cool because you're still here. And that's all that matters. So thanks for being here, guys. God bless. Leave a couple more thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the member section. Thanks so much for being here. Hang on. Got to turn this off, guys. Bear with me for a minute. There we go. Finish.